Chekhov's gun is a dramatic principle that states that every element in a story must be necessary, and any irrelevant aspects of the story should be removed. Elements should not appear to make false promises and never come into play. Anton Chekhov made a reference to this principle that was later named after him by advising fellow playwrights to not include a rifle in a show unless it was later fired in that same show. But must Chekhov's gun always be a gun? Could it also be Chekhov's wrench, Chekhov's frisbee, or even Chekhov's Eldrazi? Well, I set out to see how Chekhov's gun might possibly relate to magic, and I have to say, this is quite possibly the most difficult and most challenging commander deck I have ever constructed. This is Chekhov's deck. While creating Chekhov's deck, there were a few key rules and philosophies that I had to stick to in order to create this monstrosity. The 3 tenets of Chekhov's deck. Every single card in the deck must make reference to a synergy, strategy, card type, card trait, or individual card that is not in the deck. There can be no purposeful synergy. All cards must have as little synergy together as reasonably possible. The deck must be commander legal, despite the fact that the theoretical
20 islands and 40 green spells
is the ideal version of Chekhov's deck. Unfortunately, the deck must still also be entirely playable, and every spell must be castable. So now that you know the philosophy behind Chekhov's deck, allow me to take you on a bit of a tour through some of the deck's highlights. To start, the deck runs multiple cards that, while you are technically allowed to run multiple of them in the commander deck, Chekhov's deck does not. We're also running lots of cards that synergize if you have more of them in the deck, and of course, we're only running one. We also feature as many mentions of specific cards not found in the deck as possible, such as Minotaurs or Eldrazi. Now, don't go thinking that just the spells themselves are following Anton Chekhov's philosophy. No, in fact, the entire deck and mana base are all designed to work together as not seamlessly and as terribly as possible. From Corrupted Crosspost with no Devoid, from Arid Mesa with no valid targets, to Cloud Post with no other locus, and Maze's End with no gates. This deck is art. Interpretive postmodern art, but art nonetheless. Take all of that together and add a few cards that care about planeswalkers that planeswalk across the blind eternities just to get away from this monstrosity, and you have one near perfect Chekhov's deck. Now the question I ask you, do you want to play a deck that has virtually no synergy, little to no value, and purposeful terrible deck building? Well, you might want to give Chekhov's deck a bit of a try then. You can find the full deck list for Chekhov's deck below in the description. I'm Sam Huggins, and have yourself a very nice day.